Yo, Eagles Nation, stand up.
Jalen Hurts is dead. Jalen Hurts is dead.
Yo, how'd Barkley put it? Looking like another grease pole night in Philly. Facts. Hydration pod. My voice isn't 100% back yet, but welcome to episode 131 of the Grease Pole Podcast. Appreciate you taking part. As always, new episodes drop each and every Monday. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you podcast. Also simulcast on YouTube, where you can get a visual as well in your head pictures. Hit the subscribe button there. We're approaching 70 subscribers on YouTube. Yay. Milestones, I guess, for whatever that's worth. So for everyone that has subscribed, thank you, and thank you for being here. It's not a fun Monday. It's not a fun episode to do, but you know, it's one that has to be done.
You gotta mourn.
Yeah, dude.
Do you want a tinfoil hat first? Or do you want to like properly mourn?
No, we can tinfoil, man, because it's, you know, look, if you're here, we don't need to walk you through the game entirely. I mean, there's some shit to touch on, but I'll say this, man. We lost the fucking game. We lost. All right. I don't want it to turn into excuse pod, right? I don't want to be Cowboys fan. But when you're up 10 at halftime and the second half comes and it's just your defense completely shits all over itself and just blown coverages, and there's a handful of plays that stick out aside from the Bradberry call at the end of the game. Like, that's the one that's I'm going to remember that shit until the day I die. You know what I mean? That's going to be like the Rondé Barber interception in the 2002 NFC Championship game, the last game at the Vet. That's just one of those things you play over and over again in your head and have fucking nightmares over. But there was other shit leading up to that. But when videos are coming out now of the commissioner just running up and giving a fanboy hug to Chris Jones of the Chiefs, and it not even a professional commissioner hug, full blown, I'm running and jumping at you as if you're a spouse returning from deployment. And the mic picks up the words, "I don't care how you hit the quarterback," in a year where Tua Tagovailoa has an applesauce diet, and you have a dude almost die on the fucking field who was at that game last night as well. You can't blame people for going, fuck out of here, though.
Yeah. Also, at the very best, it's bad optics.
Absolutely.
At
Absolutely,
the very
dude.
best.
And that's the thing, is it's just like there was a lot of, and I mean, look, Lane Johnson had a false start that wasn't called. I will grant you that. And goddamn, I hate doing this segment, but the Devontae Smith helmet to helmet on like the third play of the game that wasn't called, the catch that got overturned, that was a fucking catch that could have at least made it. It could have given the Birds a chance to make it fucking 28-14 going into the half as opposed to 24-14, which would have made the game entirely different. I mean, it was a fucking 3-point game. You know what I mean? And there's all of these things leading up to it, but it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we need to accept, obviously, Mahomes has been anointed. He's the new golden boy.
That's
and
the thing.
When you have the ankle and you sell the ankle, but wait, my ankle feels good enough to where I can run 30 yards.
Yeah.
Man,
Shockingly.
Yeah, it feels like you're kind of intentionally trying to force the warrior narrative.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's you're a woman in a horror movie now. You're a girl in a horror movie where it's sell the leg, like you said, until the hope spot happens,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, I feel better now.
Yeah.
And then it reeks, dude. It reeks. And I'm not. Look, there was reeky shit in the Cincinnati game too. You know what I mean? And I didn't have a horse in that fucking race. Yes, I wanted Cincinnati over Kansas City, but that's because I thought Hurts and Burrow would have been awesome.
Yeah.
And we've seen Mahomes before. You know, I like the only team I have a horse in the race to see every year is the Birds. Other than that, give me new teams. I'm all for it. Give me a Lions, Browns. Well, not Browns. They're gross now.
Gross.
Yeah, you get the point. Lions,
Give
Jets.
me Lions, Texans. I hate the Texans, but like neither of them has ever been.
Right.
I'm in.
Fuck it, dude.
That's
like,
when I'd watch.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's like, I mean, I don't know, man. It definitely leaves a bad taste in your mouth because that game was such a good fucking game. It was such a good game. And to have it marred by a call, either way, fucking sucks. When you've been letting these guys play for 58 minutes to the point where we're not even calling helmet to helmets, but now you're going to make now's a holding call time when the ball was sailed over his fucking head anyway. If you want to call holding, which I mean, you can call holding on every play in the NFL. It's a fact. If you're going to call that ticky-tack ass holding there, in theory, James Bradberry stopped Juju from getting one, maybe two steps, which wouldn't have helped him catch that fucking pass anyway, because Mahomes sailed it over his fucking head. So I'm not making excuses. I'm not caping for James Bradberry here, but he didn't prevent fucking Juju Smith-Schuster from catching that pass. The Mahomes throw did. You know what I mean? And that you would have netted the same outcome with the field goal there at the end, but instead of getting the ball back with 4 seconds or whatever it was, or 8 seconds at the end of the game, where it was just, all right, chuck and pray, Hurts would have had time to engineer a drive down the field because he would have got the ball back with, I don't know, roughly a minute and a half. And that would have been fine for him.
Yeah.
That would have been fine for him the way he was playing. I mean, Hurts lit it up, dude. Highest passer rating in Super Bowl history with 92.9. I think I saw a stat. We had like 415 or 418 total yards, and Hurts accounted for 374 of them.
Damn.
I mean, he played his fucking ass off, dude. And it's like, you couldn't have asked any more for him. And just the consummate adult and professional, you know, he was just like, it's a learning experience. And, you know, you see him, there's a picture of him just kind of walking through the Chiefs colored confetti. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I think you can talk yourself into it after Super Bowl 52 when you won. And I got high on the Kool-Aid and the Doug Peterson, this is the new norm shit. And it was just like, we won one. So now it feels like it has to be a dynasty. Nobody can stop us. And in retrospect, I realized how foolish that was. I have complete confidence, knock on wood, that we'll be back and it's because of Hurts, dude. And that's the priority this offseason, is lock that dude down long term. Lock him up and pay him $50 million a year. And Howie Roseman's a fucking wizard with the cap. He'll be able to figure out a way to do it. Lock that dude down because he's the engine. If we don't have him, we don't have shit. But it just felt kind of gross, man, to have the game end that way.
So, I mean, playing some devil's advocate here, and I know what you're going to answer, but like, gotta ask the question.
Yeah.
Let's say it happens exactly the way you said. Let's say they kick the longer field goal without the call. Hurts gets a minute and a half, but doesn't get it done. It's still 38-35. That's just acceptance, right?
Dude, absolutely. Absolutely. If you have a chance to, and look, at the end of the day, it's still like, you know what, we lost. We couldn't stop a fucking nosebleed. We couldn't. It's in the second half. So there's still like, you know what, it's football, man. The best defensive line we didn't sack that motherfucker once, which again, not to be whatever here, turf issues. If you go back and watch, there's play after play where Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick both are going to fucking bend the edge and they just bust their ass. That didn't happen I mean, it happens occasionally, sure, because you're contorting your fucking body and you're an athlete, but it was perpetual last night, dude. And it was like they had been working on this turf in Arizona for years for the Super Bowl, because here's this new whatever the fuck, I don't know, master foliage they wanted to pull out, whatever, but this was some fancy fucking turf. And it was odd to me that the only motherfuckers that seemed to have an issue was our edge rushers. Nobody for the Chiefs was busting their ass. Now, I mean, that's kind of intentional, tongue-in-cheek tinfoil hat theory, but I mean, me last night, consumption was like, why are they not wiping out at all?
Yeah.
You know, why is it just our dudes? Or our dudes just suddenly like linguini legs, don't know how to walk here or move, you know? But if you give Hurts a chance at the end with the minute and 30, you don't throw that flag, and he doesn't get it done, then he doesn't get it done. You know what I mean? But you give them a chance with the flag to drain the clock out, and then the result's still the same, but now it's
mired in all sorts of questions.
Yeah, and it's the fucking Hail Marys don't work, dude. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had 2 that worked, and they were cute, but that shit, it's called a Hail Mary for a fucking reason. It's horse shit, you know what I mean? And you also don't want to do fucking pitchy woo-woo in those spots, because then it just turns into a fucking circus and the Ringling Brothers, and you might as well play Doink the Clown's theme. And
might as well get the marching band out there.
Right. It ends up being some horse shit fucking, you know, fumble return by the defense. It's a backdoor cover, and who wants that shit? So, you know, I feel for Hurts, man, more than anybody. I feel for fucking Sirianni too. Our offensive coordinator is now leaving to become Indianapolis's new head coach.
Oh, another one.
Yes. So that happened with Frank Reich, and then we brought in Sirianni, and now they're getting Shane Steichen. It's very weird. It's very weird. It's like wife swap with Indianapolis. It's very bizarre. But so he's going there, so our guy's going to have to find him a new OC now. Which I've got faith in him. He was tearing up a lot during the anthem. I don't know if you saw that clip.
No.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if it was Chris Stapleton's pipes or if our guy's just uber patriotism.
I bet
he
you
was busted up.
It's probably a little mixture of 3 different things. The 2 things you mentioned. Number 3, he's in the Super Bowl, man.
Absolutely.
Like, just the emotion of being there. And then holy shit.
Yeah.
They're playing the national anthem because the boys are about to take the field.
Right.
I'm coaching in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude. And what was crazy is, man, is that, I mean, how long did the opening drive? The opening drive took almost 5 minutes. Like, the opening drive was fucking great. And it's like, that's exactly what you wanted to see. You know, it took 4 minutes, 51 seconds. You march down the field and you fucking score. And it's like, okay, Eagles football, here we go. And, you know, it was back and forth, dude. But, I mean, we had the lead up until toward the end of the third quarter. We led the majority of the game, up by 10 going into the half. And, you know, you're sitting there going, okay, but it didn't feel, even the NFC Championship, and obviously, look, I'm not comparing San Francisco and the Giants to the Chiefs, but those games felt kind of at halftime like, okay, they're done. They're done. There's still the cynical Eagles fan in me that's like, well, the clock hasn't hit 0 yet. But they very much, the vibe was, and look, San Francisco was on a 4-string quarterback. Of course it did. And we have the new Brady in there now. But this never felt like it was over. And it was just like, we need more. We need more, or we need to stop them. And we weren't stopping them at all. And that was the difference. And it was just the blown coverages, the fucking Quez Watkins drop that made it 27-21 with about 6 minutes left in the third quarter. And if he had caught that fucking pass, it's like, you know, you have a chance there to, even with a field goal, it still would have been 27-21. But if you punch it in, you get a touchdown, it's 31-21. There's more pressure on them now. It's a different game. And the ensuing drive, Kansas City took the lead, and they never relinquished it back. And you have to catch that fucking pass if you're Quez Watkins. And so it's like, okay, do we go get a new wide receiver 3 because fuck that guy? You know what I mean? Like, biggest play of your career and you come up short. And I get it, but the ball goes right through your fucking hands. Like, you can't, it wasn't coverage, it wasn't whatever. It was right where it needed to be, and you came up short. Like, that can't fucking happen.
That's also like not coming through for your guy.
Right, dude. And so it's the Devontae Smith catch that got overturned. You know what I mean? And that was fucking huge too. And that was kind of when it started to feel like, okay, we missed the helmet to helmet, and you're going to overturn this catch that, I mean, look, I'm biased, but that was a fucking catch. And you're in a room with other people that don't have a horse in the race. I mean, sure, they, for their own sanity, want the birds to win, but it's not like, you know, whatever. And it's like, how in the fuck does this get overturned? You know what I mean? And it just felt weird, man. It felt fucking strange. And then there was another incident like happened to Cincinnati in the AFC title game where they just kind of gave the Chiefs a free play. You know, Andy challenges a catch by Dallas Goedert when the ball had already been it was like 3 snaps later, and it was like a retro challenge. And you're like, what the fuck?
When is that a thing?
Dude, exactly. And it's like, how in the hell is this happening? But the call stood, thankfully, because it was at that point I decided, like, internally, if they overturn this, I'm going viral. Like, I'm going to be that guy where it's just like, it's demolition time. You know what I mean? Because at that point, come on, you know, the call stood. And that was another thing to me. Dallas Goedert was fucking killing it all night. And I don't know how many catches he had off the top of my head, but it wasn't nearly enough. It wasn't nearly enough. Why that dude wasn't dialed up more often? Because it was just wins all the time. It was Travis Kelce, but on our side, and he was a matchup problem. And anything Hurts was putting on him, it was sticking to him. And it's why not that more? Why not that more? Because there's your MVP right there. There's your security blanket. There's the guy that is coming up for everything. When you're dialing up Quez Watkins for a fucking, 40, 50 yarder, like, that's great, but 88's putting everything you put around him. So what the fuck? I mean, the Chris Jones thing, when I saw that, dude, I was just like, you got to be fucking kidding me, man. That, like, if you're Goodell, that's, like you said, at best it's shit optics. And you can't have that, dude, especially after we're coming off the generation where the Patriots got away with the shit that they got away with. And, if you're Goodell and you're buddies with Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, and now it's like, okay, this is the new dynasty apparently, or the new team that's been the torch passed to. You're running and giving him Backstreet Boy hugs. Like, man, that's not good. I don't care how you hit the quarterback, really, but you sure care how we hit Precious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they're sitting up there and they're talking to Mahomes, and Mahomes' brother is behind Pat Mahomes, and he's doing the fucking TikTok dancing shit on the broadcast, and you're just like, you people are the worst, man. You people are the worst. And by you people, don't give me any shit. I mean the Mahomes family. I mean the fucking Chiefs. The fucking just toxic leech. It's just like, dude, really? Really, that guy? That guy's your Super Bowl MVP when it could have been our guy. And it should have been our guy. But I don't know, man. It's funny because 2 years ago, I was talking to these microphones about how stupid the fucking Hurts pick was. And now I'm like, I'm in love with that dude. You know what I mean? I fucking love that guy. He's such a fucking he's the complete opposite of what Carson was.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he's what Carson portrayed himself to be, but never actually was. You know what I mean? And you could just tell, like, he was like, okay, like, this sucks. And I didn't watch any of the pressers because I couldn't. After the ball hit the turf, it's like, it's very different when you win that game versus when you lose it. When you win it, you want to be a sponge. You want to take and absorb everything in because you want to enjoy that shit. And the moment the ball hit the ground, it was just like, I'm done. I don't want it. I didn't watch the Chiefs lift the Lombardi trophy. I didn't watch any of that shit. At some point I'm going to go back and watch the pressers for our guys because I do want to hear what they said. And a lot of it's just 101 coach speak and players speak bullshit. But, it's, when they show Hurts, it's just like, he's so fucking calm, dude. It's like the cliche, he's got ice in his veins bullshit. The guy is forever fucking just calm and steady, doesn't lose his shit. And whatever his thing was about be a thermostat, not a thermometer, or whatever it was, like that's him. And I can completely say I have full confidence we'll be back. I hope. And much like the Patriots, I hope we see these motherfuckers again. I hope we see these motherfuckers again. And the other thing is too, when you're hearing it from other people, kind of like, man, this is horse shit, dude. Like it, Frank and I were texting yesterday, shout out to Frank, the Unofficial Bengals podcast, our guy. And, he was just like, dude, it's your day. Go get them. Fuck these motherfuckers, because they kept his team from getting there. You know what I mean? So he's like, I'm rooting for you guys, man. And, talking to him and talking to, the fantasy football group chat was going, Cowboys fans were like, that was ticky-tack as fuck in that spot. You know what I mean? And you're like, you hate us. And you're saying that. And we hate you too. But it I don't know, man. It feels dirty. It feels nasty. It feels like I want to take a shower. Even if we lost, again, I'm not trying to whatever, but it's just like, that was such a good game, dude. That was such a good fucking game. That should have gone down as, I don't know what the consensus best Super Bowl of all time is. If, is it the Scott Norwood? Is it,
that one.
yeah,
Wide left.
Right. Like, I mean, there's a lot, dude. I think Steelers Cardinals was phenomenal, even though I hate that Pittsburgh won, because fuck that side of the Keystone State. I thought Ravens San Francisco was really fucking good. Like, there's been a lot that have been, whatever. Historically, Super Bowl III, even Super Bowl 52, us in New England, bias aside, that was up there. This should have been an all-timer, and it still will probably go down as an all-timer, because it's funny how history forgets itself. It's nobody's going to look back at this and remember that James Bradberry on Juju call except Eagles fans.
Yep.
That's it. And so,
you guys, in 5 to 10 years, you guys will be looked at as crazies.
Right. Right. Well, you should have beat them, and you're absolutely fucking right. But it's, again, when you officiate a game, it's the ref's job as a player and as a coach. You're understanding early on, you're paying attention to the way the refs are calling the game so that you can adjust accordingly. If they're going to let you play, cool. If they're not, if they're going to call it tight, fine. But pick a lane and don't switch it up, especially at the most crucial time in the game, 2-minute drill, when the game is fucking tied, when it's close. And by the way, yeah, it's the fucking Super Bowl. This isn't week 5 against, the Rams or whatever.
This one matters.
This is the fucking Super Bowl, dude. So it's, yeah, man, it sucks. It makes you want to shower for sure.
And, not to continue on tinfoil hat guy, but to the point in 5 to 10 years where you guys will look like crazies if you bring that up. In 5 years, the story won't be that call, like you said. It'll be Mahomes got up with the gimpy ankle.
That's it,
and led him to victory.
What a tough guy that Pat Mahomes is. What a warrior, and it's another tally mark for him. And it's like you said before we went on. The NFL is a league built on dynasties, and you look back at every decade, and it's very weird, dude, because you don't always get this in other sports, but the NFL very much has it where, in the 70s, you had the fucking Steel Curtain Steelers. The 80s was the Montana Niners. The 90s were the Cowboys. The 2000s and 2010s, the Patriots got 2 decades.
Yeah.
And now it's very clear who you got to go through this decade we're in now.
At least the next 8 years.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, dude. So it's fine. It sucks, man, but you take it and you hold your head up, and you don't let them see you sweat. You know what I mean? We still fucking got there. We still got there, and it's for all the people that, you had an easy path there. You know what? We hung with the fucking Chiefs blow for blow.
Yeah.
We hung with them. We were there with them till the end. So sure, they had more points on the scoreboard at the end of the day than we did, but we fucking hung with them. They didn't beat the shit out of us. You know what I mean? We didn't beat the shit out of them either, but we hung in there toe to toe.
Yeah, and to further your point along, if you guys beat nobody getting there, you get you get stomped.
Right. If we're a fraud, they're going to come out and instead of 38-35, it's going to be 38-17.
Yeah.
They're going to beat the fuck out of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't happen. In fact, we very much were in control of that game for 2.5 quarters of it. The problem is you have to maintain control, and we did not. So it is what it is.
Ultimately, that's the story. And it sucks because it's mired in controversy.
Of course.
But ultimately, that's the story. And, like, I don't know, man. I had excuses for the Suns losing in 6, But, like, also, it was clear Giannis was going to get one.
Right. And it's what do you do when that's what's funny with all this script shit that was going around the last 2 weeks. I'm thinking, you really think if it was scripted, it would be for us? Really?
Yeah, no chance.
The fucking Eagles, dude. No, do you not know how this league works? It's clear even before this game was set in stone who it was going to be. It's clear who the next motherfucker is.
Yep.
It's fucking been clear. You know what I mean? And here we are. We're there now.
Yep.
So, it sucks, dude, because it's made me kind of hate Andy. And I love Andy. And that's also me being still in the middle of a hangover from last night. But I'll get over that. But I've always liked the Chiefs. It's like Golden State all over again, dude.
Yep.
Like you grow up with, like we did with the Run TMC Warriors, and you're like, they're fucking cool. And when Golden State gets good, you're like, this is awesome. It's somebody different. And then you start to tire of them. It's like, and I feel like everybody's probably that way unless you're a fan of that team. Nobody wants to see the same fucking team every year. You know what I mean? Unless you're dipshit Colin Cowherd and you go, well, dynasties are good for sports. Fuck off, dude. No human being wants to see the same teams win every year. You just like to suck off whoever's doing good at the time because you're a fucking leech and an asshole.
So they've been to, what, 3 out of 5? 3 out of 4? Because last year they missed because it was Rams.
3 out of 4, I believe. Ugh. So it was obviously us and them last night. Rams Bengals last year. Yeah, 3 or 4 because the year before that, 55 was.
Is that Bucks?
That was the COVID
Chiefs.
Bowl. Yeah, Bucks Chiefs, and then before that it was Chiefs Niners, which is when Mahomes got his first. So, they've been to 3 out of 4. And I think it's 5 straight AFC title games too. Like, yeah, they're the new Patriots, dude. Yeah. They're the new Patriots, and it's just like it's funny how things change in the moment because now it's like if you were to put the Pats and the Chiefs head to head, I'd be like, you know what? Go Pats, dude.
Yeah, because they're what, like 10-7.
Yeah,
like
they're not a threat anymore.
Barely getting there. And...
Yeah, Belichick's not going to be around for much longer. He's sick of this shit. So it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck you, Andy. Fuck you, Kansas City.
Weird how it changes.
Yeah.
Why can't it happen for the Jets?
Dude.
Again, if it's like straight up scripted, you mentioned this a couple weeks ago. How did we never get Manning versus Manning, first of all?
Thank you.
And how have we never gotten Giants versus Jets? Ever.
We got the Subway Series in baseball in, 2000?
Yep.
Mets Yanks. I mean, that what would be bigger than those two? Honestly, why did we not in Super Bowl 43 instead of Steelers Cardinals? Why didn't we get Steelers Eagles? The Cardinals beat us that year in the NFC title game.
Yeah.
Eagles Steelers would have been fucking a big ass deal. Yeah. So it's stupid, dude. I don't understand. When Favre was with the Jets, why didn't you get Jets Packers? I mean, yeah, man.
Again, I don't know if we said this on air. And if we did, I apologize. But I do think there is some booking involved.
I definitely think there's motherfuckers get the benefit of calls for sure. And that I think is indisputable, dude. Last night, and again, I don't want to be that guy, but last night's fucking case in point. And it was the same with New England when they were the team. You know what I mean? It was the same with San Francisco. And that's the way it is. And it's fucking horseshit.
Yep.
It's fucking horseshit, and it's the same reason why LeBron gets calls in the NBA when he flops the fuck around. You know what I mean? Yeah. And to an extent, part of me is like, man, I can't. as a competitor, you're supposed to take any edge that you can.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. It's just when you're on the other side of it is horseshit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so it all depends on, it's funny how geography and just shit like that comes into play, because it's like if you're from a certain part of the country, you identify with whatever, and it's just depending on what side of the fence you fall on. Because Kansas City's like, we didn't get any calls. The hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
And we're sitting here like, yo, what the fuck?
You at least got one.
Yeah, I feel like I just watched like Hills Have Eyes again, and I need to go bathe. Like that felt kind of low-key gross, much like the AFC title game did when they got a free play. I've never seen that shit. And then when they let fucking Andy challenge after 3 snaps, the Goddard catch, I was like, this is the same shit they did against the Bengals. And here we fucking go. You know what I mean? And I mean, again, the call didn't get overturned. It didn't matter. But it's just like you see shit like that and you're like, yeah, we're not supposed to raise eyebrows at this. Like, you treat people as if they're not watching this shit every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Fuck them. They'll forget. You know? Like, no.
Well, that's just it, is with as many eyeballs that are on the Super Bowl,
mm-hmm.
how many that we're watching were actually Chiefs and Eagles fans?
Yeah, not
like,
many, dude. I mean,
in the grand scheme of things,
thousands and thousands, but percentage-wise, right?
So, like, most people don't give a shit about that call,
right?
Like a great portion of people don't give a shit about that.
Yep,
I do, because I have a friend who's a Birds fan.
Yes.
So,
yes.
like, I'm like, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
Joe does, same reason.
Yeah.
You know.
He made me feel really good when he was firing off in the chat.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, it's not Eagles
bitter
fandom.
Birds fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not just caping for my squad here, but I've heard it all day, and it's been validating. It has, but ultimately, it's just like, man, we didn't get it done.
Yep.
We had them, man. I think that's what. It's like, which one hurts worse, this or Super Bowl 39 of the two that have lost in my lifetime? It's not even close, dude. This one, the only thing that is keeping me held together right now is the fact is this right here is Super Bowl 52. That's the only thing. We've got one, and they can't take it away from us. And we got it, and we beat Brady to get it. And that's fine. I want Mahomes' fucking ass again. You know what I mean? And that's probably the way every Eagles fan feels. All right, it's time to get our receipt on your fucking ass now. And other than that, dude, this is the loss. This loss stings more than, I mean, the Flyers Stanley Cup in 2010, the fucking Phil's World Series, the 2002 NFC title game. Pick whatever. It doesn't matter. This shit sucked. But it's also like, you know what? We've got one, though.
Mm-hmm.
We've got one. And that Super Bowl 39 was like, I was also 17, I think. And so it's like, at that point, you don't ever know if you're going to ever see that again in your life. You know, I had no idea 13 years later that we were going to fucking win one. If I did, I probably wouldn't have freaked out like I did. You know what I mean? Because, yeah. But we've got one. 52 ain't going anywhere. It just sucks because I was like, in my mind, I was starting to map out. I'm like, okay, next Super Bowl tattoo is going to happen. And I could start to, and it's just the dumb shit you think of. But then I also thought, I'm like, you know what, man? I'm not saying I didn't want us to win, but Kansas City just did save me a shit ton of money because it's like the amount of Super Bowl 52 shit we've got laying around the house is excessive. I spent $400 on bobbleheads alone, and that was 1,000% going to inevitably happen again down the road. So it's like, you know what? Finances will be a little less stressful anyway.
Allow me to put a little bit more silver lining on it, you know, to kind of tie it to Gear Freaks as well.
Mm-hmm.
How much sweeter would it be if they go again next year and win in the Kelly Greens?
Dude. So that's inevitably, that's the purchase that's going to happen because that I decided last night. I'm like, I know my road and away that I'm getting. It's decided. So I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? That the moment they come out, like it's there's going to be a portion of tax returns set aside specifically for the day those are released. What's up, Fanatics? You know what I mean? I'm not even waiting for those to hit the secondary market sites. I want those fuckers the following Friday.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm geeked, man. It's a fun time to be an Eagles fan, dude. It's
at least it's not like 39 where you feel like, where did that fall in the NFC Championships? Was that the 5th one in a row?
That was the 4th one in a row. We finally got over the hump, and then we didn't go for a couple years, and then we lost to Arizona in 2009. That was the 5th one, but we had made it to 4 in a row, and if I'm not mistaken, it was, Jesus Christ, Rams, Tampa, Carolina, and then Atlanta, I believe was, yes. Rams, Tampa, Carolina, and then we beat Atlanta. Michael Vick, that's when Dawkins laid that hit on Algie Crumpler, and it was, so it was like it kept feeling like, man, I mean, like we're here. It felt like the Buffalo Bills, you know what I mean? Only a
step
right
behind
the JV ass Bills.
Yeah.
It's like we can't even get there.
But
you
like,
know what I mean?
You know, at that point, you know, going into the next year, you don't feel like, oh, you know, there'll be another Super Bowl.
Right. And that's, I mean, this is, and the other thing is, as you look around the landscape of the NFC, Rodgers is about to get traded out of the NFC. And the NFC is far and away the weaker conference. So if you want to say, you know, the fucking shit we've been hearing all year, well, the Eagles didn't play anybody. We're absolutely in the easier conference, but so are you, Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So are you, San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, for all the shit, you know, Brandon Ayuk for the Niners, and they're going to expose the Eagles defense. Like, I mean, it's Mahomes, man. He's going to put up numbers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We also put up more points than any fucking team that's ever lost a Super Bowl. 35 is the most points ever by a Super Bowl loser. So it's like, you know, we didn't limp into this thing and completely look like shit either. We look great. We just didn't make the plays that needed to be made when they had to win the motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And it's our boy's about to get paid. Jalen Hurts' dick, and there were a lot of chants of that last night. A lot. It was an enjoyable night, man. It was good vibes up until the clock hit 0. Shout out to our friends Matt and Nancy. V's brother Kenny is in Canada. His girlfriend Caroline's an Eagles fan. She joined us as well. It was fun. Until we lost. But even after that, it was like there was still a fun phase. You know what I mean? We get back to the house and it's like the fun continued for a little bit before eventually it was just like, yeah, you need to get some sleep. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right.
Bedtime.
Yeah. I took a nap and then went and built freedom. So diplomacy. Give us your thoughts on last night's game, Eagles fans. What do you think? And as we transition now to the offseason, the NFL draft is very much cocaine for you boys. So we've got offseason shit now, and the NFL offseason is going to be, I mean, it's going to be a quarterback carousel, all kinds of crazy shit. We might have 2 coordinators to replace. Jonathan Gannon's now interviewing with Arizona. So Steichen's out the door on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see what happens with Gannon after he said he was going to stay. So it'll be interesting. And there's a lot to come in the coming months. So just because there's no football doesn't mean you should go anywhere. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And tell a friend about the Grease Pole podcast as well. If you're listening, drop a review if you like. Subscribe. All that good stuff. We will see you back here next Monday. As always, go Birds.
Yo, how'd Barkley put it? Looking like another Grease Pole night in Philly. Facts.
Birds. That would be great.